Today I have this pretty unusual Ingraham timepiece. I bought this on eBay and I just couldn't resist because it's something that I've never seen before and I just had to see what was in here. I bought it as non-working. It's missing the minute hand and the nut washer for the face, so I'm guessing someone's tried to take a look at this. Flip around to the back. It's plain. It's pretty plain. Right here it's stamped 934. Looks like we have some sort of access port here in the middle, and it hangs on the wall. One thing I did notice while taking a look at this is all around the case you can see little spots of green, especially right around here. So I figured out this clock has actually been repainted, and I was able to find another example of this model by searching for Ingraham model 934. So I think the most unique part about this clock is the case. This is a pretty unusual case for the Ingraham company. It's strange to see an 8-day wall clock with such a weird minimalistic case like this, and it has, the classic Ingraham clock dial that they use on, the mantle clocks and the banjo clocks. And it only has one winding arbor, and it's a time-only piece. It's got that nice silver dial with the hands, and then there's just this weird, really weird case around it with some, I guess, metal trim pieces on the side here. So part of me believes that, Ingraham has some spare case parts lying around and decided to build this out of it and make a model. Anyway, the bezel and the glass seem to be in pretty good shape. I think it's been repaired before. There's a noticeable, hard to show, but there's a noticeable gap right in there. So this has been tinkered with or repaired before. This will clean up really nicely with some steel wool. So yeah, you can see the glass is kind of gone on the outside of this tab here. So that's a pretty easy fix. And it looks like there's some red, shellac or something that's kind of solidified near all the tabs that hold in the glass. I don't know what that is. Anyway, I'm dying to see what kind of movement is in here, first of all, because this is a balance wheel, and I don't really know much of any Ingraham balance wheel movements off the top of my head. So I'm assuming the way you access the movement here is from the front, because on the back, it's completely plain. And I will add, whoever did the repainting on this honestly did a pretty good job. And I think it was done a long time ago, because I can see, I guess, the oils or the paint finish almost kind of cracking, like it's been there for a long time. The dial's also pretty tarnished. I can see the brass starting to peek through in some spots. There's also quite a bit of fingerprints on it. I have no idea if this clock actually runs or not. I'm hoping for the best, but I have low expectations for this. This one also has a slow-fast regulator up top. And it's not the kind where you insert the key. Looks like you could stick a pen or a screwdriver in there and adjust it yourself. I just find it interesting that this is a balance wheel movement, pretty low end model, but it still has a front-facing winding arbor. Because you find a lot of balance wheel, low budget type clocks from this period, the 20s and 30s, and they almost always have the alarm clock style winding key on the back, but no, this one has a key. Off comes the face. And let's take a look at our movement here. So this is pretty interesting. It's a lot bigger than I thought it'd be. It has brass plates, which I kind of wasn't expecting, with some steel up here in the motion works. It's got a pretty good sized mainspring. This is an 8-day after all. And it has kind of a steel bracket around the mainspring, which is pretty unusual. I've never seen that. Honestly, this is pretty clean. I'm just looking for the balance wheel, which I currently cannot even see. I can't even see the escapement. Okay, now I see it. It's way back there. And everything here looks intact. So I have pretty high hopes now that this will actually get running. So it just has a mounting bracket. I think it's only 3 screws. Something's up here. This screw is covered in oil. Or no, it's just painted black. That's interesting that they painted the inside of the case black to match the outside. That's really interesting. I just kind of noticed that. And yeah, you can kind of see how the finish of the paint is a lot nicer where the dial was covering it. So this paint's been here a while. Maybe this was like some sort of factory option and they just repainted the case. Okay, here's our movement. I'm kind of just not realizing this is, I think, an alarm clock movement. Because you see over here, you got pivots here for wheels that currently don't exist. So this makes me think that this is probably a reused or repurposed alarm clock movement. All right, let's see if I can give this a wind up. It does look to be at least have some power to it. Wrong size. Okay, went and grabbed a multi-key. Looks like it's a size 5 and I was using a 4 here. Winds pretty smooth, a little bit of stuttering there in the spring, but as I tighten that, oil is now oozing out from between the coils. It's more noticeable on this side here. Yeah, you can see that oil is oozing out. I don't know if it was serviced recently, but the mainspring has lubrication, which is always good. There is like a piece of red grease though. Like a grease crystal. Speed adjuster, I forgot the name for what these are called. Pretty interesting wheel. There's a rack on this side that moves when you spin that, which basically has an arm that goes over the hairspring, which shortens or lengthens the hairspring depending on the way you turn it. So taking a look top down, you can actually see most of the works here, and there's almost like a little plate within the movement, or a movement within the movement. Or most of the gears are actually just behind this little bridge plate here. That just makes this even a bit more weirder. I don't see any service marks really anywhere. The pivots look okay around the board. The mainspring one's pretty dirty. The others are actually pretty clean. I think even the pallet pivot actually has oil still in it. One problem is it won't run. I don't know why. So I'm gonna mess with this and see what I can do. We're getting ticks. What I did is I adjusted the regulator here. I don't know if I lengthened or shortened the spring as far as I could, but it seems to be going now. And all I did was just give the balance wheel a light push, and it seems to be going strongly. probably will take this apart and clean it at some point, but it runs pretty well right now. I've put the regulator back to dead center, so I'm gonna hang it up on the wall and see if I can get it to keep time. Taking a look at the case again, I'm just thinking about how much better this would look if it was like, you know, just normal wood with like a dark stain, no paint. Whoever painted this, I mean, they did a good job, but I like to see this in the dark, almost like this is fake wood, but something like this table would look pretty nice on this. And you can see that this hole is actually just, I guess, the result of the spade bit, or the bit they used to drill out this hole for the movement. And I guess they just chose not to plug it up, or the plug was taken out at some point. I just did some light touch-ups on the case, and I just kind of realized this looks like the bottom of like a lamp or something. You get what I mean? Like, it looks like it would sit on a table like this and have like a lamp come out, or this is like the bottom of like a table. It just doesn't really look like a clock case to me. Oh, darn it. Wait, if they painted over the screws, how'd they not get any paint on the movement? Or like the mounting bracket? How on earth, or why did they do that? Okay, here's how it sits in the case. It's not like level in the case, but I don't really care, because this is probably from the 1930s, and that makes it 90 something years old. Yeah, this dial's pretty tarnished, but I think it looks aged and it looks nice, so I probably won't do much to it besides maybe try and get some of the fingerprints off with the cloth. I knew I was missing something. I think I have to put the bezel on first. Maybe? How does this go on? Yeah, that's what I was missing.